Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the freaking internet. Yes. This is the Fat Wiking Knight, as always, coming to you from another episode here in our hardcore totemless survival series, in which we are starting to make some actual progress. Little by little, every single block that we place adds to what we are doing here. Although it seems to take its sweet time, have faith in the process and trust the architect behind it. I know somewhat what I am doing, and that is a dangerous statement to bring out there, but I know somewhat what I'm doing with this game. Under no circumstances am I an expert, but I am a person who enjoys building whether or not other people want to see it or not. I enjoy building in this game and creating lush and lavish environments that we can thrive in, and for our villagers and all our creations such as rabbits and chickens and pigs and all sorts of other things, for them to come in and peacefully live their lives in a manner that they're not able to fall off the island. Now, I am pretty excited about this, but we have made so much progress in here, and I know I say this in almost every world that we do. However, I think as we have passed our old... Jeez. Stop. Okay, Jesus. Okay, sorry. As I continue to do this in every world, we continue to push the boundary on what I believe is possible for my own capabilities, and we continue to just thrive in a way that I never really have done in this game before. Currently, we just have the shell of all of these houses and such, but I know for a fact that we can do a lot more. I know that we are going to be able to add a lot to them, and we're going to be able to make things work in our favor. Over here, you see me building just the brief bit of wall here that is going to become a mountainscape up here. Though first and foremost, I find it necessary to go to the sky and just kind of figure out the shape and then what we're going to do from that point. So I'm looking down there and I see water and I see a little bit of land. So it appears that we have two options. We take away the land and bring back the water and push the shape down into the water there. Or we extend all the way to the edge there where the land has stopped and the water begins, and we are able to make a mountain in that regard as well. I haven't decided which we're going to do. Maybe a mixture of both, cut it down the middle, not sure. But this is just a very, very lewd template that we've got going on here. Very crude. It's not anything that is going to be set in stone, and it will probably change several times as we make the mountain over here. But that is 100% okay, because we are trying to make something from nothing. And we don't really do it in a way that most people would find an ease of doing things. We kind of go the hard way, and because of that, it looks different than many of the other mountains that I've ever seen, because I take it in such a weird process to get it to where I want it to be. And that's just how I do it. Either way, if you haven't already figured it out, today is going to be a bit of a talky episode. Why is that? Well, I just have some things on my mind, some things to address, and hopefully you guys will just bear with me as I try to become my own therapist and alleviate my sense of talking, well, just being able to express myself in whatever is going on in my mind. That is what these videos started with. That's kind of what they always will be to me. Even though I am producing an episode for you guys, it really is for me. No offense. So, what I want to talk about today is kind of ambitions. I've been flaunting with the idea, and I've read a lot of books on the concept of like ideas and self-motivation and discipline and leadership and you name it. I have read a lot of books on this topic, and the more I read, the more it seems that I have questions about my surrounding. The more it appears that I really want to know more. It just feels like even though I've learned more from the books that I've read, I feel also that I haven't learned anything. And that is a weird concept, but something I want to address nevertheless. I find it very difficult to motivate myself to do things that I want to do in life. This ties into discipline, but it also ties into my ability to make things happen. And it also just, I don't know, it's hard to really put where it goes, because I always feel like I need to motivate myself. And it's true, because there is no one else that is going to do it. There's no one capable of forcing me to do it other than myself. And so I try to make up these elaborate ruses and schemes in my head to get things where I want them to be. It doesn't always work out, but I do always try my best to do that in a way that makes it seem possible. I've heard everyone's steps about, idea boards and dream boards and planning and plotting what you want and then going after it, looking at it each and every single day, and then taking it by the horns and going for it, right? Well, for me personally, it doesn't work. I've tried the whole concept of the idea board, and I've tried the self-affirmations and motivating myself via that way, and it doesn't really work how I would like it to. What I have found is if I really want to do something, I will do it. And no amount of convincing or no amount of rewarding myself or anything like that can change that feeling. That being said, I find it very empirical that we need to motivate ourselves. We should just have the ability to do these things, and I believe all of us do. However, getting it done is a completely different facet of my life. And I've even tried things such as creating small goals, and I've talked about creating small goals that lead up to that big goal. I don't think that works for me as well. What really only works is telling and convincing myself that it's something that I want to do. Even if it's not something I want to do right in that moment, something that I want to do for my future self and not for my current self. What I mean by this is simply taking out the obstacles that are in front of me and only focusing on the path instead of those obstacles in front of me. To give a very brief yet simple example, I would say, imagine you're trying to get to grandmother's house. Oh, but there's a giant boulder in the way. Normal people just go around it. I am going to take that boulder and imagine that it just doesn't exist. And I'm going to continue going towards grandmother's house without that obstacle being there. I'm trying to alleviate all of these roadblocks and hazards that I have created in my own mind to try and force myself to do things, and I've struggled with it. I really have. I'm sure many of you out there also struggle with this same concept, the same ability of, can I do something, can I not do something, and doubting yourself along the way. It doesn't seem to help. The positive, consequently, also does not help me either. Doesn't matter which connotation it is taking, no matter which way, I simply struggle to go towards where I'm trying to go. And I really just need to stop seeing things as blatant obstacles to me. I think truly if I just don't see the boulder there, I think I'll just go head first into it. And I think that's a really, really good and powerful thing. I think if I just continue to try my hardest at it and actually have a clear cut place that I want to get to, no matter the reason, I believe that I will get there. But for me, I think that has been the really hardest part. How do you force yourself to have a passion? How do you force yourself to go after something even if you're unsure if you really want it to begin with? How do you make this a lasting reality, and how do you avoid the possibilities of getting stuck? Because you might and you probably will. It's been so difficult for me. I've talked about this many times. You guys know that I have struggled, and I do currently struggle with depression. It is what it is. It is a annoying creature, and it would disrupt me many, many times a year, a month, a day, a week. It doesn't matter. It's just disruptive, and I don't think that has to do with really why I am so paranoid about making like actual choices that affect my life, when I have no issue making these decisions about tattoos that go on my body. I feel it should be one in the same, and it is really not. Tattoos, yes, they are permanent, kind of, although you can spend tens of thousands of dollars in a lot of pain to get them off. They are, for all intensive purposes, permanent. But I find that making choices in my life to lead me to a better direction, to a higher purpose, to a higher state of mind, to benefit myself in any kind of way is completely difficult. It is the hardest choice that I have ever tried to make. And I always seem to stumble because, guess what? I just give up as a result of it being that way. We need to make this better. I would love to tell you there is a end-all, be-all way to make this happen. And there's not. What works for some people doesn't work for others, and what works for others doesn't work for the other people. That's just kind of how it goes with life, especially each of us having our own niche and our own way of looking and going through life. But I want to change that. I want to change what my mindset really is, and I want to be able to go after things despite any of the consequences that I may face, despite any of the hardships that I may face, the obstacles, the roadblocks, the hazards, whatever you want to call it. These are all things that I've created myself. All things that I am just so worried about going around, so worried about ignoring it all to begin with, that the obstacle itself, I feel, is stopping me in my tracks. And I'm sure many of you can relate to this, but this is just me personally, my therapy session. I can do better. I can do so much freaking better in life, and I just have this bad habit of sabotaging myself. So in the coming days, weeks, months, and years, what I intend to do with this specific knowledge is avoid all obstacles. I'm going to pretend that they don't even exist, and I'm just going to continue clawing and trying to climbing up the wall as best as I can, while still ignoring the obstacle. Now, obviously, I will have to take this into account at some point, because there's really no way around the obstacles. However, what if the obstacles never really existed? What if they were all just manufactured by me to stop me before I even began to try on a particular subject? What if that was the case? And the more I think about it and have thought about it, the more I think that that kind of is a reality. I think more than anything, more than any single person or any single real obstacle getting in my way, I think it's me. I think it's a fear of success and a fear of losing that success should anything happen in the future. If I stop trying my all, if I stop giving in to what I want to do, how badly could that end? And I feel like that is the obstacle that is stuck in my head. If I get this success, then I have a lot more to lose. If I have a lot more to lose, then I am worried about the things that I could potentially lose instead of the things that I could potentially gain. And I think right there is the issue. Stupid, but it took me a long time to be able to actually vocalize that little sentiment right there. It took a long time. I am my own space. I am my own obstacle, and it drives me insane. So if I eliminate me as the obstacle, I think I will just do the things that I want to do. Regardless of consequence, success or failure, I think I will just take on whatever it is and drive it as hard as I can. I get into these moments, though, where I am doing everything that I feel I need to, going above and beyond in, everyday life, work included, and just trying to be the best me I can be. However, there are times when that is no longer the reality, and I feel like, well, I've done my best for a month and a half, I deserve some kind of reward. And I'm not entitled to any reward, and I'm not guaranteed success in anything. But for some reason, me and my stupid-ass brain thinks that this is an acceptable answer. It thinks that, oh yeah, that makes sense. Why don't you just stop here? Stop now before you even get started. Stop 2 minutes in because you know that it's going to take a long time to get good at it. I just need to ignore it, and I think I have finally found a way to do that. What I have been doing for years and years and years, I've meditated, I have done kind of relaxing hymn work, I have done spiritual enlightenment, and I have tried to just be a better person. And I think that is really where I am starting, where I am digging in as hard as I actually can, just trying to improve myself, not for the purpose of anything else, but I want to improve myself. Don't care what other people think about it. I am only competing with myself. Whether that's in YouTube, whether that's in real life, whether that's with dogs or family or friends or whatever, doesn't matter. I am going to strive. Actually, nay. I am not going to do anything. I'm going to be. No. I will be better. I think I need to start phrasing it more that way, because going to implies it's a time that has not yet come. And I want to start that process, so I will be better. Not I'm going to. I think that is what we're going to go for here. And I know I just said it, but I will be better. And that's it. I'm going to try. I'm going to claw. I'm going to take you guys along for the ride to see if my motivations, my intentions for myself are valid, to see if they actually hold any kind of weight or validity to any of them, or if they are just simply dead in the water and my unconscious brain is just rambling to the world, or rambling to myself rather, and trying to find some kind of incapable object for me to take on. going to do this. I've just decided right this second, as I was airing out and venting what I needed to vent, I am going to do this. I am going to be a better person. And I'm not going to set any parameters to that. I'm just going to take every single day in the only way that I can do it and just be better. Be better than I was yesterday. Be better than I was the day before, and be better tomorrow for the knowledge that I've learned today. Those are the things that I am now doing. It's not a matter of willpower, I don't think. It's a matter of doing what you actually need to do, regardless of the consequences. And I feel it's taken me a long time to figure that out. In fact, 30 years. Right this second is when I figured that out. So, I got this. I'm going to be better. And if you guys would like to participate, I would love to know your guys' thoughts and hear your guys' stories about what you are going to do to be better. Not what you're going to do tomorrow, what you're starting right this second to be better for yourself. Now, obviously, there are people who could give a fuck about any of this, and that is absolutely fine. You don't need to tell me your story if you don't want to, and you don't need to stifle anyone else's creativity or anything like that, because, well, I'm not going to learn, or I'm not going to read it anyway. That's just how it goes. But I have decided fully, I am going to be better. At what? I'm not going to narrow specifics, but I am going to be better, and that is going to be that. So I want to thank you guys so much for letting me vent and for listening along, for voicing your opinions, leaving likes, subscribing, you name it. I want to thank you guys for every little thing that you do, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Ciao!